Welcome back to the Now Morning Show. Hope you're having a great morning so far. We certainly are, and we're going to have a conversation now about disruptive leadership, what that means exactly. And there's a conference happening actually on the 16th and 17th of November at Trinidad, Hilton. This morning, I want to welcome the founder of Go Blue Inc. in Grenada, Judy Cutcheon, and Dr. Terri-Karelle Reid, who is the event host for this coming event, a Disruptive Leadership Conference happening on the 16th and 17th. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to the show. How are we doing this morning?
We're doing good.
We're good. I've had my doubles, I've had my polori.
Already
I've
for
had
the morning?
And my mango chow.
For the morning?
Well, not for
or
the
just since you've
well,
been
the
here?
doubles. In the morning, a double.
You had doubles this morning already?
Sound great.
You're doing better than me. All right, Judy, let's chat a little bit about disruptive leadership. Why did you start this conference, and what exactly is disruptive leadership?
Okay, so the conference was started to help bridge the leadership gap that exists. I'm a management consultant and I work across the Caribbean. Mm-hmm. And from that work, what I've realized is that we have a lot of gaps in our leadership, in how we lead our people, in how we lead our organizations. So I thought, well, let's disrupt the status quo and do something different. Let us see if we can change the leadership models that we have in the Caribbean so that we can really integrate into the global space a lot better.
What are some of the examples that you've seen of leadership types, and what do you want to see it change to?
Right. So there's one thing that is a pet peeve of mine from leaders. Lack of response, lack of effective communication. So a simple thing like, I send you an email, crickets, no response. That speaks a lot to the culture of the organization. And the culture of the organization, the tone is set by the leader. So if that is what the leader is doing, you can imagine what's happening in the rest of the organization.
Maybe I want to be devil's advocate bad here. No? Because I assume, right, if you're the leader of an organization, you're busy. You don't have time to respond to every single email that come in.
Not every single email, but you do have an assistant. Most leaders have an assistant.
I hear you. Terri-Karelle, that's you nodding and shaking your head going along as she mentioned some of these things.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Tell me about who this conference is meant to target.
I think this conference is meant to target not just C-suite, because I think whenever persons hear the term leaders, they assume it's CEOs, CIOs, CFOs, CMOs, all of the C and the O's you could think of. But anyone who is in management, anyone who is in a supervisory role, anyone who manages people, processes, systems, I think should be a part of it. And I've had the pleasure of hosting this particular conference maybe for the last 4 years. And I've had the privilege maybe of hosting high-level conferences, summits, conventions across the world. And so my perspective is extremely unique because a lot of the times we have expert speakers, we have great data and insight, but it doesn't always apply to us based on our culture, our tradition, social, how we behave, even political. And so what I like about disruptive leadership is that it's a conference at a high level, but it's for us. Highly represented by great experts who are West Indians, who have global expertise, who are applying it in the market. So now you get the relatability. You have people understanding the same challenges that we have, and they're coming with practical tips. And so for anyone who is even moving up the ladder, who is an entrepreneur and has to hire out, what are the things you need to be considering from a leadership standpoint? That's the reason why I like this particular conference.
Yeah. No, it's interesting you mentioned you've been doing it for the last 4 years, right?
Yeah,
so some of the things that you've seen, the conversations you've seen take place, have you actually seen them being implemented across industry?
You know, I have, and I find what is also interesting is for anyone who attends conferences, they experience conference fatigue. It's when I see you going, oh, preach, Terry, preach. You have 1 million speakers. It's a lot of information from 8 o'clock in the morning to 5 o'clock in the evening. Most of the time you can't remember after the first speaker. So I think even the timing and just being conscious and mindful of your speakers, which is what I like about your conference. But most importantly, people actually remember what the speakers say.
Right.
2 years later, you meet up with people who've been to the conference and they go, remember that Belizean speaker last year who said 2 things she don't put up with? She said, 1, Caribbean people believe that if it's not broke, don't fix it. She said sometimes you have to break it yourself, mash it up, mash it down.
Into pieces.
Into pieces.
Yes.
And she said another thing where she said, don't reinvent the wheel. She said sometimes you must reinvent the wheel. And I remember a lot of those things being taken away and hearing attendees saying, you know what, I'm going to hold on to that and I'm going to apply it.
Break things and reinvent the wheel.
Yeah, sometimes you have to, don't wait for something like COVID. Don't wait for the disruption, but be the disruptor or the disruption.
Boy. All right, who we have coming to disrupt this year?
Well, this year we do have some really great practitioners in their field. So we have from Trinidad, we have Mr. Ian Chinapu, who is the CEO of Guardian Group. We have Trisha Kisoon from JMMB Investments. We also have out of Barbados. He's from Trinidad, but he's out of Barbados and he's brilliant. Mr. Anthony Ali. He is the CEO of Goddard's Enterprises Limited. We also have Dr. Luz Longsworth. She's coming out of Jamaica, and she was the principal and pro-vice chancellor of UWI Global Campus. We also have from Trinidad again on the panel. We have Mr. Narish Mangru, who is also from Guardian Group, and we have Anna Alicia Guindu, and she's the president of NGC CNG Company Limited.
All right. Now, I know we can head across to disruptiveleadershipconference.com to get the full list and the rundown, but I also understand there's a masterclass that's taking place.
Right. So the conference, how we have the conference, we have the main stage speakers, and then we have two masterclasses. One is dealing with digital disruption, and the other one is dealing with how you bring all the three generations that we have right now in the workplace, how we bring those together. And that is really important, right? And then that's on the first day. And the second day, we have the panel discussion that's going to talk about how you use technology, design, and innovation to create sustainable organizations, because that's what the new trend is. And so as Caribbean organizations, I want us to be in what is happening, because when you go into some organizations and you realize that they are almost light years behind. So
and the employees are frustrated and positive. Wherever you find a company or an organization that's lagging, I bet you there are employees who are going, but you don't see what's going on, and why can't we implement?
But the challenge that we face is that there are also some employees who still have that mentality of if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Right.
Correct.
So we have to find that balance of how to disrupt it and make everybody realize that there is a better way.
Correct. I think what we probably need to do, and it's the conversation that we constantly have, is that we have to understand that change is constant. But and that's the only thing that we hold on to. But I think what we need to add to that is that, and we have to evolve with that change. If you don't,
you get left behind.
You get left behind.
The Disruptive Leadership Conference is happening on the 16th and 17th of November at the Hilton. How can we be a part of it?
You can go to our website at disruptiveleadershipconference.com and register. It's a hybrid conference, so we have an online portion and an in-person.
How much does it cost to be a part of it?
The cost for the in-person, it's $800 US for the 2 days, and that's regular. That's if one person, but there are companies who want to send 5 or more. That's 700. That's 700 US, and that includes the 2 days as well as our networking session called Ramage.
Networking, she calls it. Ladies and gentlemen, Disruptive Leadership Conference is on the 16th and 17th at the Trinidad Hilton. You can head across to disruptiveleadershipconference.com to get more information. Let me thank Ms. Judy Cutcheon for joining us this morning, as well as Dr. Terri-Karelle Reid.
Have a
Thank
good
you,
one.
ladies, so very much.
Take care.
So much.
All right, guys, we'll take a quick break and come back with more in our morning show. Stick around. Your birthdays are up next.